IELTS Chill Zone. Spoken in English. The Kakapo. The kakapo is a nocturnal, flightless parrot that is critically endangered and one of New Zealand's unique treasures. The kakapo, also known as the owl parrot, is a large forest-dwelling bird with a pale owl-like face. Up to 64 centimeters in length, it has predominantly yellow-green feathers, forward-facing eyes, a large gray beak, large blue feet, and relatively short wings and tail. It is the world's only flightless parrot and is also, possibly, one of the world's longest living birds, with a reported lifespan of up to 100 years. Kakapo are solitary birds and tend to occupy the same home range for many years. They forage on the ground and climb high into trees. They often leap from trees and flap their wings, but at best manage a controlled descent to the ground. They are entirely vegetarian, with their diet including the leaves, roots, and bark of trees, as well as bulbs and fern fronds. Kakapo breed in summer and autumn, but only in years when food is plentiful. Males play no part in incubation or chick rearing. Females alone incubate eggs and feed the chicks. The 1 to 4 eggs are laid in soil, which is repeatedly turned over before and during incubation. The female kakapo has to spend long periods away from the nest searching for food, which leaves the unattended eggs and chicks particularly vulnerable to predators. Before humans arrived, kakapo were common throughout New Zealand's forests. However, this all changed with the arrival of the first Polynesian settlers about 700 years ago. For the early settlers, the flightless kakapo was easy prey. They ate its meat and used its feathers to make soft cloaks. With them came the Polynesian dog and rat, which also preyed on kakapo. By the time European colonizers arrived in the early 1800s, kakapo had become confined to the central North Island and forested parts of the South Island. The fall in kakapo numbers was accelerated by European colonization. A great deal of habitat was lost through forest clearance, and introduced species such as deer depleted the remaining forests of food. Other predators such as cats, stoats, and 2 more species of rat were also introduced. The kakapo were in serious trouble. In 1894, the New Zealand government launched its first attempt to save the kakapo. Conservationist Richard Henry led an effort to relocate several hundred of the birds to predator-free Resolution Island in Fiordland. Unfortunately, the island didn't remain predator-free. Stoats arrived within 6 years, eventually destroying the kakapo population. By the mid-1900s, the kakapo was practically a lost species. Only a few clung to life in the most isolated parts of New Zealand. From 1949 to 1973, the newly formed New Zealand Wildlife Service made over 60 expeditions to find Kakapo, focusing mainly on Fiordland. 6 were caught, but there were no females amongst them, and all but one died within a few months of captivity. In 1974, a new initiative was launched, and by 1977, 18 more kakapo were found in Fiordland. However, there were still no females. In 1977, a large population of males was spotted in Rakiura, a large island free from stoats, ferrets, and weasels. There were about 200 individuals, and in 1980 it was confirmed females were also present. These birds have been the foundation of all subsequent work in managing the species. Unfortunately, predation by feral cats on Rakiura Island led to a rapid decline in kakapo numbers. As a result, during 1980 to 1997, the surviving population was evacuated to 3 island sanctuaries: Codfish Island, Maud Island, and Little Barrier Island. However, breeding success was hard to achieve. Rats were found to be a major predator of kakapo chicks, and an insufficient number of chicks survived to offset adult mortality. By 1995, although at least 12 chicks had been produced on the islands, only 3 had survived. The kakapo population had dropped to 51 birds. The critical situation prompted an urgent review of kakapo management in New Zealand. In 1996, a new recovery plan was launched, together with a specialist advisory group called the Kakapo Scientific and Technical Advisory Committee, and a higher amount of funding. Renewed steps were taken to control predators on the 3 islands. Cats were eradicated from Little Barrier Island in 1980, and possums were eradicated from Codfish Island by 1986. However, the population did not start to increase until rats were removed from all 3 islands and the birds were more intensively managed. This involved moving the birds between islands, supplementary feeding of adults, and rescuing and hand-raising any failing chicks. After the first 5 years of the recovery plan, the population was on target. By 2000, 5 new females had been produced, and the total population had grown to 62 birds. For the first time, there was cautious optimism for the future of kakapo, and by June 2020, a total of 210 birds was recorded. Today, kakapo management continues to be guided by the Kakapo Recovery Plan. Its key goals are: minimize the loss of genetic diversity in the kakapo population, restore or maintain sufficient habitat to accommodate the expected increase in the kakapo population, and ensure stakeholders continue to be fully engaged in the preservation of the species. IELTS Chill Zone channel, where you fully understand and learn with ease.